All right, folks, welcome back to the Gjeebs organization. Today's video is going to be crazy. So I'm on the Qualcomm campus. This is a company that employs 50,000 people. They've invited me to see their new AI self-driving chip for vehicles. They installed it in a Rivian. I don't know if it's that one, but that one's beautiful. I like those arrow wheels for some reason. They get me going. But anyways, so we're going to do a presentation right now to talk about the technology that they've put in this chip, and then we're going to do demos of vehicles that actually have the chip. Jamie's on the camera, and I hope you enjoy this video. So this R1T is an all-terrain Tri-Max Ascend package. It has Rivian's autonomy platform, and the interior is the Ascend Slate Sky Walnut Wood. Exterior has Storm Blue, which is a newer color, and it's the Max battery pack. These are the 20-inch all-terrain dark wheels, so the truck is absolutely beautiful, but let's check out to see what Snapdragon has added to the vehicle. So now the part that you guys have been waiting for. I'm very excited for this because I have the Gen 1 Rivian. This is a Gen 2 Rivian. It has the Qualcomm chips and Snapdragon
digital chassis cockpit, and the connectivity, the Snapdragon connectivity chipset.
Right, so that's already in the car. This is nothing aftermarket. These are coming with it, and that's kind of what I'm educating you guys on today. That's what is exciting. I had no idea that that's what was inside of this, so yeah. This will be good. So where should we start?
Well, let me just start with just high level. So typically when we talk about our Snapdragon digital chassis, it covers four main areas. First one is a digital cockpit that drives all of our displays. That chipset is in this vehicle. Second area is our Snapdragon auto connectivity platform that drives all of our 4G, 5G location services. That also chip is in this vehicle. The third area that we talk about is our ADAS chipset, our ride platform. That piece is not. So when we talk about these four areas, and by the way, the fourth area is really more of a services, car to cloud, in-car purchases. Those are the four areas that we talk about when we talk about digital chassis. So two of those areas that we mentioned are in this vehicle. And just really quick, this is, you mentioned, a 2025 Rivian truck. We'll just go around some of the back areas, and once we get into the car, we'll show you some of the other tech. You can see a lot of everything is electrified. We've got the back cover here. We can go ahead and put down the tailgate. It's got a built-in air compressor in the back. It has 12-volt connections on the inside of these storage areas back here.
All right, you guys already know all this.
This is really that digital cockpit. We're driving multiple displays inside the vehicle. There's two displays up here, one in the back. And our digital cockpit basically drives everything that you see here. And this also situation is we've worked with our partners. One of them is Epic, which is an Unreal Engine, which is a graphical user interface. So they've developed this whole user interface leveraging our chipsets. So our chipsets, every single Snapdragon chipset comes with CPUs, GPUs, and NPUs. Right. NPUs are typically used for artificial intelligence. The GPUs used for graphics, displays, purposes like that. So when you start to have this kind of pinch and zoom and this kind of experience, this is our GPU hard at work leveraging this. So when we do all this work, we actually work with the Unreal Engines of the world to be able to leverage all of those hooks into our GPU to be able to have this type of experience.
Okay. So you rely on them to kind of make it beautiful? They rely on you for the
correct. The Unreal Engine is the graphical piece, and that does all of the 3D assets and 2D assets. You're correct. And then Qualcomm puts that kind of thin layer at the operating system to say, when you want to use the GPU to be able to have this experience, here are the hooks into that. But yes, so that is correct. We're providing all that silicon and all that hardware to be able to make this happen. So we start looking at, this is your standard UI. It has all your different camera packages. So this is a bird's eye view. It's got many different views here. But in addition to the cameras or the bird's eye view type of environments, we also have this thing called Gear Guard, which is really a way for us to, very similar to the Teslas of the world, where they have the Sentry kind of working. We can also do different categories here and look at many different events that happened over the last couple months. Now, this is also leveraging our 4G and our 5G connection in terms of being able to leverage that connectivity platform. It'll actually upload all these up to the cloud at some point, but everything right now is also stored locally here as well. Some of the big things this also will support is it has, as I said, the 4G and 5G chipsets, but it also has the built-in Wi-Fi. So it has Wi-Fi 6 support. So you'll be able to, they've actually implemented features like casting. So if you're charging for 20, 30 minutes, you can take your phone out, you have Hulu, YouTube, Netflix, whatever, you can cast that directly to your headset or to your infotainment platform and have that streaming.
The Connected Plus subscription, I think, is what you need to get that.
Likely, yes, yeah. Again, this is pretty standard stuff. It's got all your navigation maps. It's got your HVAC controls. So this has an air suspension. So really what that allows us to do, and I don't know if your Gen 1 has this.
Yep, it does.
Where it actually kind of goes up and down based on the preferences that you want. But yeah, so depending on whether you're out and about, four-wheeling or rock climbing, that sort of thing, your settings are going to be very different than throwing down the highway.
Yeah. And then I guess, when I'm looking to buy a laptop, I might be like, all right, 8 gigs of RAM is not enough. I need 16. Do you ever see options in a car being like, this one has 16, this one has 32, so it's a little quick?
Yeah, you're typically not that you're not given that option typically when you're buying infotainment. But right. I agree, and you want enough headroom to be able to support new upgrades coming down the road. So
exactly, so that's what I'm thinking. I wonder if a car will get to a point where they're like, you can upgrade the RAM later, like you can on a computer. That would be interesting.
They are already taking account for that. So when when Qualcomm starts talking about that fourth leg, we talked about connected services and we talked about car to cloud. These are means or ways for us to offer new services like ad hocly, over the ear, right? So if I'm driving down the road, let's say I don't have 5G coverage or I don't within my service plan, right? Now there's an opportunistic area that I have 5G great coverage. We can come down with a request that says, hey, listen, we'll give you 5G coverage for the next week for $10 or whatever the case is. So these are like opportunistic on-demand type of services. But a lot of these services and a lot of these features will rely on the fact that we have enough headroom to be able to offer them, right? So software upgrades, we're talking about a car has to last 10, 15, 20 years. So the upgrades that we want to be able to maintain has to have that headroom.
Yeah, because the battery warranty is 8 years, 150,000 miles. So you want the technology obviously working at times.
Yeah. So this is your commercial vehicle. So it's going to support all of your Bluetooth connections, your streaming music connections. It also has apps embedded in it, right?
I love this feature too. It's really cool. The electrochromatic glass.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That is really cool. I was up here, I was trying to earlier, so I don't drive a Rivian, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, when I looked at this before, it wasn't. And I'm like, how do I change that so I can see through it again?
Yeah.
But everything is electronic these days. You can, electronically push up the front hood.
This is quick too. That's important too. You don't want to be waiting.
Yeah, and remember years ago when we used to get in cars and they used to have the map and you used to have a plus and a minus sign?
Yeah.
And to be able to do plus, minus, right? I mean, today the expectation is you want an experience like you have on a tablet or your phone, right? So and in fact, that's why we initially started getting into this business. We were big into the smartphone business, right? Yeah. Our chipsets, and people want that same experience. So that's one of the reasons, we're leveraging our one technology roadmap into other domains and sectors. Yeah. Automotive being one of them.
Yeah, no, Rivian, I think, is one of the most up-and-coming brands. So the fact that you're in here already and for their autonomous driving that they have planned for the future, it's a big... I'm excited.
A big disruptor in the automotive industry, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just like the Teslas and the Rivians, everything is they're turning the market upside down on what the expectation is and how cars are sold today. So it's,
being direct sale, that's nice too.
Yeah.
Just order online, you don't have to negotiate.
Yeah.
It comes,
and in fact, that's a lot of people don't even like going to car dealers, right? Because they're just like, I just don't want to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Just tell me what the price is like.
I don't want the desert package. I don't know what that is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I appreciate your time
and
showing me everything in the vehicle and how you're integrated, because again, that's, I will say, oh, this is cool. They updated this, but I didn't understand what was powering it.
Yeah.
So to have an understanding of that and look for other manufacturers that are also on the Snapdragon platform, it's exciting ahead.
Yeah, and you can see that Rivian didn't take everything that we offer. So that's the beauty of Qualcomm, and we sell into all these different vertical domains, so to speak, whether it be cockpit, ADAS, connectivity. If you only want to take one of those silos, you can do that. Qualcomm is not necessarily you have to take everything, right?
Yeah.
Surely we want to sell you everything because it's all integrated together. But clearly a lot of these OEMs are going to pick and choose what they want, and they might have their own stacks in one version, and we'll be like, sure, we'll sell you the best silicon, the leading class silicon that we have.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome, thank you.
You bet.
So there's a couple other things on this Gen 2 I want to show you that are different. And these have been gone over in other videos, but you can see this light bar here has increments of every 10. So when the car's charging, it's actually going to show you the increments or where it's at. So if it's at 80% battery, this will be lit up green up to right here. They've also changed out the charge port. On the Gen 1s, it has a light around them here. I actually kind of like the Gen 1s better. It looks a little more luxurious, but this is the new charge port. You still swipe across here to open and close the charge port. And the other thing that they've done, they've redesigned the door handles here. So that was kind of a complaint of mine. The location of the Gen 1s is right here, and you're always kind of pulling down by your knee. Now you just tap this button and it releases the doors. The door handles are also, it seems to be more electronic, so when you, much less effort to get these opened up. So that is just a nice movement. Plus, what Rivian continues to do is increase the quality of these interiors, like a thatch look to them. That's my favorite part, plus the electrochromatic glass on some of these vehicles is excellent. It's like stepping into a modern living room. The sound systems are very good. I just like their use of materials, whereas Tesla is it's like black, white, those are your options. This you can really craft exactly what you want it to be. So the other thing that this one has is the tonneau cover, which I don't have, but you tap that button right there and then it starts to move it forward. I had a guy in New Mexico, I was at a charger stop, some guy in New Mexico in a Model X came up and tried to convince me that I had a tonneau cover. I was like, I don't have it. It was not optional in the car. And he ripped this off of the side of my vehicle in the middle of New Mexico. So if you have one, it will have this button right here that's split, and that's how you know you'll have a powered tonneau cover. But just some, and then this is also Storm Blue. I don't know if I said that earlier, but it's one of their newer colors. It's like a $3,000 upcharge on this with the all-terrain tires. It's a beautiful package, and the R1S and the range that these things get is remarkable. So the fact that, yeah, just understanding now more what's underneath these and what's powering them, it's just cool to know more about them. It also has the dark out package. That's new for some of these Gen 2s. Another change that they've made here, you've got some pockets up here, whereas the previous one, there are no pockets. This is also rubberized. Oh, is it reversible? Can you reverse this, Ma? Oh, reversible. So we got carpet on one side, and we got this rubberized Rivian branded on that side, and you still have your charging cable down here. You have your, oh, this is cool. So you have this is the compressor cable. So it has an air compressor in the back so you can fill up all 4 tires. That's in the front now. It previously was on the gear tunnel. When one of the flaps, it would come out on there. And then you have your first aid kit. And then if someone ever traps you in the front of a Rivian, you have this button right here. That'll release the hood so you don't get kidnapped. So this, such an efficient use of space. Plus there's storage in the bed for a full spare. All right, so I can just see your eyes glossing over at this point, so let me explain. Snapdragon is built on 4 platforms. It's connectivity, ride, car to cloud, and cockpit. So OEMs can pick from the 4 of these and implement them into their vehicles, saving them hundreds of millions of dollars in R&D. Now, if you own something like a Tesla or a Rivian, you know that the over-the-air updates are excellent, because you could have a car like this is from 2020, still gets updates that makes it closer to the new version and adds features over time. Snapdragon's chips and platform have these OTA updates, but it's up to the manufacturer to deploy them, not Snapdragon. Now, BMW's new Class A is going to be an incredible EV, and it's all powered by Snapdragon's 4 pillars. This is what may save a lot of legacy OEMs from drowning in the US. Snapdragon is giving them a mostly developed AI interface that can be upgraded over time. So it will get legacy OEMs closer to what companies like Rivian and Tesla have been doing for 10 years with their software stacks, saving them potentially hundreds of millions of dollars and future-proofing their vehicles with technology that can lead to fully autonomous driving. Now, if you are looking to buy a Rivian, use the code on the screen. This will give you $500 toward the Rivian Gear Shop, getting you maybe a bike rack or a home charger or even Rivian merchandise. And if you want to see what it's been like owning my Rivian R1T for 1 year, check this video out right here. I go through the good and the bad, and I think you'll really enjoy it.